Have you ever woken up in the morning and asked yourself, why am I doing this? You open your eyes, you look at the ceiling, and before your feet even touch the floor, a heavy feeling settles in your chest. Not sadness, not anger, just emptiness. You go to work, you come home, you eat, you sleep, and the next morning you do it all again. From the outside, your life looks fine, maybe even good. You have a job, you have people who love you. You have things that many others do not have. And yet, something is missing, something you cannot name, something that makes you feel like you are living, but not really alive. If you have ever felt this way, you are not broken. You are not weak. You are simply missing something the Japanese have understood for a very long time. It is called Ikigai. Ikigai. Say it slowly. I-ki-gai. In Japanese, iki means life. Gai means value or worth. Together, Ikigai means your reason to be, your reason to wake up. The thing that makes your life feel worth living. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. This is a graded English lesson for learners who want more than vocabulary. Today, you will not just practice English. You will think deeply about your own life. And that is the most important kind of learning. In this lesson, we will explore 8 powerful ideas about Ikigai. You will hear real stories. You will hear about real people, and by the end, you will understand why millions of people in Japan wake up every morning, not with dread, but with direction. But before we begin, I want to tell you something true, something I need you to hold in your mind for the next 35 minutes. Your reason is already inside you. There is no need to travel to Japan to find it. No new job, no new city, no new life is required. You only need to know where to look. And that is exactly what this lesson is for. If this sounds like what you need right now, subscribe to this channel. New lessons come out every week. And every lesson is designed to help you grow in English and in life. Now, let us begin. Lesson 1. What is Ikigai? Let us start with a man named Jiro Ono. Jiro is a sushi chef from Tokyo, Japan. He has been making sushi for over 70 years. He wakes up before sunrise. He goes to the market. He selects the best fish with his own hands. He returns to his small restaurant, 10 seats only, and he prepares each piece of sushi with total focus and total care. Jiro is not young. He is in his late 80s. His hands are old. His body is tired. And yet every single morning he gets up, without anyone telling him to, without an alarm clock forcing him to move. He gets up because he wants to, because making sushi is not his job. It is his reason. That reason has a name, Ikigai. Now, many people in the West hear the word Ikigai and think it means passion or purpose or happiness, but the real meaning is deeper than all of those words. Ikigai is not one thing. It is 4 things becoming one. Here's the truth. Ikigai lives at the center of 4 questions, 4 circles. And when those circles overlap, when those questions all point to the same answer, that is where your Ikigai is waiting. The first circle. What do you love? What activities make you lose track of time? What would you do even if no one paid you? Even if no one was watching? That is the circle of passion. The second circle. What are you good at? Not what you wish you were good at, what you actually do well. your natural abilities, your trained skills, the things that come more easily to you than to others. That is the circle of strength. The third circle, what does the world need? Not what you think the world should need. What do people actually ask for? What problems exist around you that you could help solve? That is the circle of mission. The fourth circle, what can you be paid for? What skills or services do people value enough to give you money, time, or energy in return? This is the circle of vocation. 4 circles: passion, strength, mission, vocation. Most people live inside only 1 or 2 of these circles. They love something but cannot earn from it. They earn well but feel no love for the work. They are good at something but it helps no one, and so they feel incomplete, always a little off center, always a little lost. But when you find the place where all 4 circles meet, where what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for all come together, that is Ikigai. That is your center. Jiro Ono found his center in a small kitchen in Tokyo, and it keeps him alive, focused, and joyful decades after most people have stopped trying. The question is not whether your center exists. It does. The question is whether you are willing to look for it. Lesson 2, what you love and what you are good at. I want to tell you about a woman. Let us call her Keiko. Keiko was 31 years old and living in Tokyo. She had a good job at a large company, a corner office, a salary that made her friends say, "Wow, you are doing so well." She wore nice clothes. She ate at nice restaurants. She had everything that looked like success from the outside. But every Sunday evening, as the weekend ended and Monday came closer, Keiko felt a tightness in her chest. Not fear exactly, something quieter than fear. A gray, heavy feeling that whispered, "Is this really it? Is this all there is?" She stayed. For 3 more years, she stayed. She told herself, "This is a good job. I am lucky. I should not want more." And so she kept waking up every Monday and every Tuesday and every day after that and going to a place that paid her well but asked nothing of her heart. Listen carefully. A lost person chases success. A found person chases meaning. Keiko was lost, not because she had made bad choices, but because she had never asked herself 2 of the most important questions in the 4 circles of Ikigai. What do I love? And what am I truly good at? These 2 questions sound simple, but most people never sit with them long enough to hear the real answer. They confuse what they love with what they enjoy on a Saturday afternoon. They confuse what they are good at with what their boss tells them they are good at. But Ikigai asks something deeper. What do you love so much that you forget to check your phone? What activity makes time disappear? What topic could you talk about for 3 hours without getting tired? That is the circle of passion. That is the first clue. And the second clue lives in your strengths. Not your resume, not your job title, your actual strengths. If you have a natural ability to see beauty in ordinary things, that is a strength. If you have the ability to make people feel calm when they are worried, that is a strength. If you can take a complicated idea and explain it in a simple way, that is a strength. These things matter. These things are part of your Ikigai. Here is what Keiko eventually discovered. She had spent years writing reports for her company, pages and pages of careful, clear writing. And she hated the content, the numbers, the deadlines, the corporate language. But the writing itself, the act of choosing words, building sentences, making ideas clear, that she loved. She had always loved it. She just never noticed. She also loved children. She had volunteered at a school on weekends for years, not for money, not for recognition, just because being around young learners made her feel alive. Writing, children. Two clues, two circles beginning to appear. If you feel empty in your work, it does not always mean the work is wrong. Sometimes it means you have not yet found the part of the work that belongs to you. Sometimes the love is hidden inside the task, waiting for you to look closely enough to see it. Your passion is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers, and you only hear it when you stop filling every moment with noise. Lesson 3, what the world needs and what you can be paid for. In 1942, a young psychiatrist was taken from his home in Vienna, Austria. He was put on a train. He was sent to a concentration camp. He lost almost everything: his freedom, his work, his family. In the years that followed, he lived inside conditions that most of us cannot imagine: cold, hunger, fear, total darkness. His name was Viktor Frankl. And yet, inside that darkness, Viktor Frankl made an observation that would change the world. He noticed that the people around him who survived the longest were not always the strongest. They were not always the healthiest. They were the ones who had a reason, a purpose, something outside of themselves that they were still living for, a person waiting for them, a book they still wanted to write, a contribution they had not yet made. He wrote later, a person who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Viktor Frankl survived. He went home. He wrote a book. That book has now been read by millions of people in dozens of countries. And the central idea is this: meaning does not come from looking inward. It comes from looking outward. It comes from asking, not what do I want, but what does the world need from me? Now think about this. Most people ask, what do I want? Strong people ask, what does the world need from me? This is the third circle of Ikigai, mission. And it is the circle that many people skip entirely because it is uncomfortable, because it asks you to think beyond yourself, beyond your comfort, beyond your salary, beyond your personal satisfaction. But here is what the Japanese have always understood. The deepest joy does not come from receiving. It comes from giving. Not giving until it hurts. Not sacrificing yourself until you disappear, but contributing, adding something real to the lives of the people around you, solving a problem that matters, helping in a way that only you can help. The fourth circle follows naturally from the third. What can you be paid for? This question is not about greed. It is about sustainability. Because a mission you cannot sustain is a mission that will not last. If you spend all your energy helping others, but have no income, no support, no foundation, you will eventually burn out. And then you can help no one. The fourth circle asks you to be practical about your purpose, to find a way to offer your gifts to the world in a way that allows you to keep going, to keep living, to keep contributing. Keiko, the woman from our last lesson, began to see this. She had writing, she had a love for children, and slowly she asked, does the world need this? Are there children who need clear, kind, well-written lessons? Are there teachers who need support? Are there parents who would pay for a better education for their sons and daughters? The answer she found was yes. Yes and yes. 4 questions, 4 circles. They do not have to align perfectly on day 1. They rarely do. But when you begin to ask all 4, something shifts. Something inside you wakes up. And the morning does not feel so heavy anymore. Lesson 4, the Okinawa secret. There is a small island in the south of Japan called Okinawa. For decades, scientists and researchers have traveled there to ask one question. Why do so many people here live so long? The numbers are remarkable. Okinawa has one of the highest concentrations of people over 100 years old anywhere on Earth. Men and women who are 80, 90, 100 years old, still moving, still cooking, still laughing with their neighbors, still useful, still here. Researchers looked at their food. They looked at their genetics. They looked at their social habits and their physical routines. All of these things matter. But again and again, one factor kept appearing in the data. Something the science could not fully measure, but could not ignore. These people had a reason to wake up. Not a vague dream, not a retirement plan, a real daily reason. Something small and specific that called them out of bed each morning. A garden that needed water. A grandchild who needed teaching. A craft that was not yet finished. A neighbor who needed company. Stay with me, because I want to tell you about one man in particular. He is a fisherman. He lives on the coast of Okinawa. He is 78 years old. Every morning before the sun has fully risen, he walks down to the water. His knees are not what they were. His back gives him trouble, but he walks. He does not fish because he needs the money. His children take care of him. He fishes because the sea is his reason. The smell of salt air. The silence before the world wakes up. The feeling of a line between his fingers. The small daily conversation he has with the ocean. A conversation that has been going on for 60 years. When researchers asked him what keeps him so healthy, so alert, so alive at 78, he did not talk about his diet. He did not mention his exercise routine. He said something simple. He said, I have something to go back to. Not something to look forward to. Something to go back to. A place that was already his. A reason that already knew his name. That is the Okinawa secret. Not a diet, not a supplement, not a morning exercise program. It is Ikigai. It is the quiet daily practice of having something that is yours. Something that pulls you forward. Something that makes the morning feel like a beginning and not a burden. The people of Okinawa do not retire from life, they retire into it. They stop the work that paid the bills and they return fully to the work that fills the soul. If this lesson is opening something inside you, if some part of you is recognizing a feeling you have carried for a long time without a name for it, I want you to subscribe to this channel right now. We release new lessons every week. Every lesson is made for people who want to grow not just in language, but in understanding. Subscribe and come back. Now let us continue. Lesson 5, the danger of living without Ikigai. There is a word in Japanese that has no direct translation in English. The word is karoshi, Karoshi. Karoshi means death from overwork. This is not a metaphor. This is not an exaggeration. It is a medical and legal term used in Japan to describe people who work so hard for so long without rest, without meaning, without any real reason beyond the next deadline and the next paycheck that their bodies simply stop. Heart attacks, strokes, complete physical collapse. In some cases, people take their own lives because the pressure becomes too great to carry. Japan recognized karoshi as an official cause of death in the 1980s. The government began tracking it, companies were held responsible, and the numbers were not small. Here is what most people miss. Karoshi is not caused only by too much work. It is caused by too much work with too little meaning. Because when your work connects to something you care about, the body finds a way to keep going. The exhaustion is real, but it is the exhaustion of a person who has given something worth giving. When there is no meaning, the exhaustion becomes something different. It becomes erosion, a slow, invisible wearing away of everything that makes you, you. Viktor Frankl saw this in the camps. He wrote about prisoners who, the moment they lost their sense of purpose, deteriorated almost immediately. Not slowly, almost overnight, as if the body had been waiting for permission to give up. And the moment meaning disappeared, the body took that as its signal. The empty life is full of things. The full life is full of purpose. Keiko knew this feeling. Not the extreme version, not karoshi, but the quiet version that millions of people carry without ever naming it. She had the things, the apartment, the salary, the status, and she felt empty. Not dramatically empty, not crisis empty, just gray, just flat, just a little less alive than she knew she should feel. If you wake up tired, if you go through your day on automatic, if you find yourself watching the clock, not because you are excited for what comes next, but because you just want the day to end, that is a signal. That is your inner self knocking on a door that has been closed for too long. If you feel this way on most days, if the weekends feel like relief rather than joy, if Sunday evenings make your chest tight, these are not signs of weakness. These are not signs that something is wrong with you. These are signs that something important is missing. And that missing thing has a name. A life without Ikigai is a life without a compass. You can still move. You can still function. You can still appear fine to everyone around you, but inside you are walking in circles, covering distance without direction, busy but not going anywhere that matters to you. The good news, and there is very good news, is this. The compass is not lost. It was never taken from you. It has been inside you the entire time, waiting patiently, quietly, without judgment, for you to finally pick it up. Lesson 6. You do not find it, you build it. Here is a question that stops many people cold. What is my passion? They sit with that question for months, sometimes years. They wait for a feeling, a sign, a moment of sudden clarity where the answer arrives fully formed, like a gift dropped from the sky. And while they wait, they do nothing. They stay in the same job. They keep the same routines. They tell themselves, I will change my life as soon as I figure out what I am meant to do. But that moment never comes. Not because the answer does not exist, but because that is not how purpose works. Let me make this simple. Purpose is not found. It is built. One small action at a time. One quiet morning at a time. One honest attempt at a time. Haruki Murakami is one of the most respected writers in the world. His novels have been translated into more than 50 languages. Millions of people around the globe have read his words and felt for a moment that someone finally understood them. He is, by any measure, a person who has found his Ikigai. But Murakami did not wait to feel like a writer before he started writing. He never waited for inspiration. He never waited until his life was quiet enough or his schedule clear enough. He built a system, a ritual, a daily act of commitment that he has kept for decades. He wakes up at 4 in the morning. He writes for 5 to 6 hours. He runs 10 kilometers. He reads, he sleeps, and the next morning he does it again. Not because every morning feels magical, not because every sentence comes easily, but because the doing is the point. The ritual is the Ikigai. Weak mornings start with a phone. Strong mornings start with a reason. Most people are waiting to feel motivated before they act. Murakami understood something different. You act first. The motivation follows. You do not think your way into purpose. You live your way into it. This is one of the most important ideas in this entire lesson, so I need you to hear it clearly. You will never feel completely ready. You will never have perfect conditions. There will always be a reason to wait one more week, one more month, one more year. But Ikigai does not grow in waiting rooms. It grows in the doing, in the showing up, in the 10 minutes every morning when you return to the thing that quietly calls your name. Maybe for you, it is writing like Keiko. Maybe it is cooking like Jiro. Maybe it is movement or music or building things with your hands or sitting with people who are going through pain and helping them feel less alone. Whatever it is, it will not get clearer by thinking about it. It will get clearer by doing it. Start before you feel ready. Start small if you must. Start badly if you have to. But start. Your reason is already inside you. The only thing standing between you and your Ikigai is not talent. It is not time. It is not circumstance. It is the decision to begin. Lesson 7. Small Ikigai is still Ikigai. We live in a world that worships big. Big dreams, big careers, big impact, big numbers. Everywhere you look, someone is telling you to think bigger, dream bigger, be bigger. And if your purpose does not look like a movement, a company, or a mission that reaches millions of people, then maybe the world quietly suggests it is not enough. I want to challenge that idea. Gently, but firmly. Pause for 1 second. Because one of the most important truths about Ikigai is this: it does not have to be big to be real. It does not have to change the world to change your world. A small Ikigai lived fully and honestly every single day is more powerful than a grand vision that never leaves the page. Let us return to Jiro Ono. Jiro's restaurant has only 10 seats. 10. There is no outdoor sign. There is no large menu. There are no windows looking out onto the street. It is a small room underground in a busy Tokyo train station. And yet food lovers travel from every corner of the world to sit in those 10 seats and eat what Jiro prepares. Not because his restaurant is grand, because his commitment is. Jiro has spent over 70 years perfecting the same thing, the same fish, the same rice, the same precise, careful, loving attention to a single craft. He never diversified, he never expanded, he never tried to become something else. He went deeper into the one thing that was already his. And that depth, that quiet, stubborn, daily dedication is what made him extraordinary. Now, here is what I want you to hold. Jiro's Ikigai is not saving lives. It is not solving a global crisis. It is not building technology that changes how the world communicates. It is sushi. Small, beautiful, carefully made pieces of sushi. And it has given him a life of energy, joy, and meaning that most people with much larger ambitions never find. Think about a grandmother who wakes up every morning to make tea for her family. The same tea, the same cup, the same quiet ritual before the house fills with noise. That morning tea is her contribution, her love made visible, her reason. Think about a man who spends his weekends teaching young boys in his neighborhood how to play chess. Not because he is a professional coach, not because he earns money from it, but because he sees something light up in a child's eyes when a move finally clicks. That light is his Ikigai. Think about a nurse who has been changing bed sheets and checking temperatures for 30 years. Not a doctor, not a researcher, a nurse. And she knows every patient's name. She remembers what they are afraid of. She holds their hands. That is not a small life. That is a life of enormous quiet purpose. Your reason to wake up does not have to change the world. It just has to be yours. Own it, protect it, return to it every morning. Because a small fire, tended carefully, burns longer than a great explosion that lights the sky for one brilliant second and then disappears. Lesson 8. Your Ikigai is already inside you. Hear me on this. Your Ikigai is not waiting for you in a different country. It is not locked behind the university degree you do not have. It is not reserved for people with more talent, more money, more time, or more courage than you. It is not something that belongs to other people while you watch from a distance and wonder why your life feels like it is missing something. It is already inside you, right now, in this moment, as you listen to these words. But here's what you need to understand. Ikigai is not a fixed thing. This is not a destination you arrive at once and stay forever. It grows with you. It changes with you. It evolves as you evolve. The Ikigai of a 20-year-old is not the same as the Ikigai of a 40-year-old. The reason that pulled you out of bed at 20, the hunger, the ambition, the desire to prove something to the world, may not be the same reason that calls you at 50. And that is not failure. That is not loss. That is growth. That is the natural movement of a life being fully lived. Quitters run from discomfort. Purpose-driven people run toward meaning. Because finding your Ikigai is not always comfortable. Sometimes it asks you to let go of a version of yourself that no longer fits. Sometimes it asks you to admit that the path you have been on was not wrong, but it was not fully yours. Sometimes it asks you to start again, not from zero, but from everything you have already learned. And starting again takes courage, real courage, the kind that does not look dramatic from the outside, the kind that looks like a quiet decision made alone in the early morning before the rest of the world is awake. Your reason is already inside you. Think about everything this lesson has covered. The 4 circles of Ikigai. The sushi chef who never stopped. The fisherman who walks to the sea every morning before sunrise. The woman in Tokyo who finally noticed that the love was hidden inside the work she was already doing. The prisoners in Viktor Frankl's account who survived not because they were strong, but because they still had a reason. All of them are telling you the same thing in different languages, in different lifetimes, from different corners of the world. Purpose is not a privilege. It is a human need, as real as food, as necessary as water, as essential as breath. And you already have it. It may be buried under years of noise and obligation and other people's expectations. It may be quiet right now, barely a whisper, but it is there. It has always been there, waiting with extraordinary patience for the moment you choose to listen. Your reason is already inside you. Ikigai is not a tattoo. It is a living thing. It breathes, it adapts. It grows stronger every time you choose to honor it, even in a small way, even for 10 minutes, even on the mornings when everything feels hard. You were not born to drift. You were born with a direction. We have come a long way together in this lesson, and before we end, I want to give you something to take with you. 4 truths, simple ones. The kind you can carry in your pocket and return to on the mornings when everything feels heavy. 1. Ikigai is not a destination. It is a direction. You never arrive at it once and stop. You walk toward it every day in small ways, in quiet moments, in the choices you make before the rest of the world wakes up. 2. You do not need a grand mission to have a meaningful life. The fisherman and his sea, the grandmother and her tea, the sushi chef and his fish. Small things done with full attention and real love are not small at all. 3. Purpose is built, not found. You will not think your way into it. You will not wait your way into it. You will live your way into it, one honest action at a time. One morning at a time, one brave and ordinary day at a time. 4. Your Ikigai is already inside you. It has always been there. It is not lost. It is not gone. It is waiting with more patience than you know for you to choose it. Your reason is already inside you. Now, a question for you. What is your Ikigai? Maybe you already know. Maybe this lesson gave it a name for the first time. Maybe you are still not sure, and that is completely fine. Purpose does not always arrive all at once. Sometimes it comes slowly, the way light comes through a window in the early morning. A little more each minute until suddenly the room is full. Write one word in the comments below. Just one word. The thing that when you do it or think about it makes you feel most alive. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be your final answer. Just one honest word. Because the moment you name it even imperfectly, you begin to move toward it. And moving even slowly is everything. Keiko eventually left her corporate job. She started writing simple English lessons for children in her neighborhood. She earned less money. She worked harder in some ways, but she told a friend, for the first time in years, I wake up looking forward to the day. That is Ikigai. Not perfect, not grand, just real. That is the promise of this channel. And it is the promise of Ikigai too. Not that your life will become perfect, but that it will become more yours, more intentional, more awake. Thank you for spending this time with these ideas and with this language. You showed up today. You listened. You stayed until the end. That is not nothing. That is the beginning of everything. You were not born to drift. You were born with a direction. Find it, build it, live it. Keep listening every day. Practice English with stories that matter, and your English and your life will keep growing. Goodbye.